Welcome to another edition of Talking Models. Today we're going to take a look at a kit that is one of my favorites. It's from a movie that is also one of my favorites. The movie you see here, Lost Boys. Kiefer Sutherland in his role as David the Vampire. If you haven't seen this movie, do yourself a favor. An amazing soundtrack, great story, and vampires. And it's just so many stars in this movie. Corey Ames, all the different people that were in this thing. And how they mixed this movie together to tell a story of a mother moving to California with her 2 children after a divorce. And they end up moving to the murder capital of the world. There's more than just murder in this town. There's vampires. So check it out and see. But today we're going to talk about this kit that you see with me here, David. This is just beautifully sculpted by Jeff Yagher. The kit does come with 2 heads. Comes with the full vamped out David. Also comes with a regular head. I just chose to do it with this one. I just thought it really makes the piece eerie, if you will. Jeff did an amazing job with this one. I'm just going to kind of spin it around a little bit so you can see it. Of course, he's holding the bottle, which was his blood, which he would tell the people that it was wine. And of course, once they drank it, they became, like him, a bloodsucker. So we're going to spin it around a little bit so you can see the beauty of this kit. The action that Jeff captured. The face is just incredible, as you can see. So you kind of spin it around. It did also come with a piece of wood with some candles on it, if you remember the movie when they were hanging out in the old subway. But again, I did paint it, but I just chose to keep it simple, and I didn't put it on there. But it is a great addition. You could put it right here behind it, in front of him, whatever you chose. You could see he has his famous trench coat on. Of course, his boots, his black pants as seen in the movie, the earrings. You know, you get everything you see. The bottle you get is cast in clear resin, so you can, I don't know, you could light that up somehow if you wanted. I'm sure you could run a wire somewhere and kind of have a glow with the red, which would be kind of creepy. I'm not good at electricity, am I, hon? Ask my wife, she'll tell you. So this is the beautiful David kit, and a little bit what I did here. Everything minus the head. The first, I always base coat it with a good primer. Usually a light gray automotive primer. Krylon makes a really good one. If you're watching this, I'm sure you have your favorite. So after I'd done that, I basically, like always, I would hand brush the Delta Cream Coat Black over the entire base. Boots, jeans, coat, everything but the head and hands. Those I leave with the original gray. So what I did is started with the base, like always. It helps me decide what I'm going to do with the figure. Maybe that makes sense to you, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you start with the figure and move to the base. I just like when I start there, it just helps me decide what I'm going to do and what coloring, how it's going to come together, how it's going to blend. This one was kind of simple because the base is simple. But some of the bases today are very complicated, very complex. So you really have to decide how you want to approach it. So for this, pretty straightforward. Over the black, I just came in with tie-in brown and just airbrushed all the wood planks that he's standing on. And came back in with transparent black. Just kind of went back and forth, you know, hit it heavier in the middles of the planks. And just kind of got it to where I was happy how it blended. The outsides of the sand, if you will, that goes all the way around the base, that I decided to use, basically it was like a khaki tan color, airbrushed on. Went a little bit heavier with that, again, dull it down with the transparent black. And then came back in and just kind of hit like certain highlights of the sand, tops of the sand, just to give it a different look. The back part you see here was done with rich brown, just so there was a little bit of a contrast, and then again brought back, toned down with the transparent black. That's all there was to the base from my one here you see in front of you. Now for his coat, I basically enlisted one of my favorite colors, Nair Black, from the Badger Freak Flex line. And I just misted the whole coat with that Nair Black. So as you go all the way around, it just gives it that look of a blackish gray coat. Then it's time to come back in with the transparent black, bring it down a bit, and hit all the folds of his coat. As you see in the back here, you just kind of build up in between all the folds. Ton of folds in there. Jeff just captured the motion of him just standing back and looking at his life, if you will, within this bottle, the blood of life. Then again, you come back in with your Nair Black and just hit all the highlights. Take your airbrush and just hit everything that stands up, basically. Along the coat here, the folds, the back. Again, back in all the crevices. And then again, I came in with that Nair Black and just hit the buttons on the coat just to give it a different contrast. I believe that'll show up to you here. There's also pictures I took, which you'll see in the video also. And again, a little heavier around the collar area of the Nair Black so it stands out. Now for his vest beneath the coat, I enlisted rich brown from the Garage US Colors. And over the black, it just, as you can see, it just gives it a nice look. I went a little bit heavier with it because I wanted that to really stand out and really see the separation between his overcoat and his inside jacket. So I just basically, again, back and forth with that in the transparent black, tone down, build up, and then like the coat, come back in on the raised areas, the highlights of the inner coat, and hit them a little bit heavier, you know, just to show the contrast. And then, of course, underneath that, he has a shirt under that. I decided just to go with the Nair Black again and just airbrush that on so you could see the difference. Now his pants, again, he mixed in some tie-in brown, some Nair Black, some transparent black, and just kind of played around with it to get the colors that you see here. Again, Jeff has so many folds and stuff within the pants, and that's your opportunity to use your original color and hit all the highlights so they stand out. Again, this is could also a lot of people will come back in and just kind of dry brush those raised areas. Perfect way to dry brush, and that's what dry brushing is for. You could come back in and lighten the color up even more and gently hit those, and it would be a nice contrast. Simple gold on the emblem here hanging on his coat, and basically that is how I painted his overcoat, shirt, vest, pants, and his boots was airbrushed with the tie-in brown, a little bit heavier in the fronts and the backs of them, just, you know, to show, you know, he's dead, he's walking around in the sand, he's probably not really taking care of himself. So you got to kind of play around with the boots and whatever color you decide to go. I just went with more of the brown because I wanted it to be a separation from everything else that was going on. And I believe I accomplished that. Now, the bottle itself, again, was, like I said, casted in clear resin. So basically what I did is, some of it, I hope it's showing out. If you hold it to the light, you can almost see through it to give it that illusion of a little heavier here, and as he pours, it would leave residue on the top, which would dry and fall back down into the bottle. I tried to recreate that with the airbrush. Obviously, from about this line down, I was heavier with the red, and as I went up, I just pulled the airbrush back and gently misted it to give you that illusion of that. Dry brush some gold around the insignias on the bottle, and of course around the top, and a little bit of brown at the very top for the cork. And as you can see, it just gives it a nice, I'll try to turn it here with the light. I can see it from my angle. Hopefully you're picking that up as I turn it. You know, just take a bottle and with some syrup or whatever in it, or anything, and as you pour it, put it back down, you'll see what I hope I created here as it drains back down. The flesh. I went with more It could have been, David could be a lighter flesh, but if you watch the movie, he does have a certain flesh to him. There's a lot of lighting in this movie that changes his appearance as you see him in different, especially night scenes. I went with more of a tannish flesh. So, of course, I enlisted, if you have seen any of my earlier videos, Reaper makes a great line from their master series of suntan flesh. You get suntan flesh, suntan shadow, suntan highlight. So I decided to use that as my base coat with the suntan flesh, and then I would come back in with, as you can see, different browns, different colorings of pastels, just to give some shading. I went really heavy around his eye area. If you see the movie, he has really black around the bottom of his eyes, especially when he was in full of anger mode. His lips were used with red pastels and just worked that in. The teeth you see on him was basically done with the suntan, not the suntan, I'm sorry, with the bleach bone tan, and then some watering down, or washing down, if you will, of raw umber and just some dirty browns. Not too much. I wanted more of the white to show through. And the tongue area was done again with red. I just basically pasteled it. Around his hairlines, I went a little bit heavier with some brown pastels, a little bit of black pastels around his cheekbones, a little bit heavier with the pastels between his brow area to give it that sunken in look that you see. And basically back and forth with browns, pastels, just kind of bringing the suntan flesh down a little bit but giving it a dirty look. Then coming back in with the original color and basically airbrushing, hitting all the highlights, the nose, top of the lips, chin, forehead area, and of course the neck area. And as I went into his eyes, basically this was pretty small eyes, but that's where my toothpick technique comes in handy also. Putting the toothpick in black, dotting the center, it'll give you a perfect circle. So I just took my time and enlisted the help of my magnifying headset that I put on that makes me look like Revenge of the Nerds, and it lets you get right in there and get that detail work done. And as you can see, as you go around this piece here, it's very important, just a lot of get all those crevices, hit all those crevices with pastels, and again bring that hairline in so it goes into his skin. I hit it a little bit heavier with like a burnt sienna all the way around so it blends. The hair, I decided kind of the base coat black, and if you watch the movie, it's kind of blonde yellowish look for his hair. So I came in basically with Poisonous Plague Yellow from Badger Freak Flex, and it's a dry brush your dream on this hair. Just start dry brushing. The key is making sure you get that brush cleaned off. I usually use different style of flat brushes. I have a small to a large, and I just kind of use a medium one, get all the paint off, and just start lightly going. Don't panic if it looks too much. Wash it down with a wash and you're good to go. I actually used transparent raw umber to bring the color back down. I would airbrush it in and just blend it all back in. And again, you want to just kind of make sure you really accent that evil look around his eyes there, and you can just do that. It's a back and forth process. Just keep going back and forth till you get what you're going. Pastel, airbrush, work it in. And there was even some transparent black used in just real light areas around his face. You would think that doesn't work, but it does. And that's how I did his face area. Straight up silver on the earring. Hands, basically the same process as I used on the face. Used my trusty pastels to give the blue veining. Just bring that in and it just pops. You can also airbrush that. I have done that before. I use my Badger, it's the Renegade Chrome, and you can really get in there close. I'm sure you want to airbrush that's real fine. Just get in there and lightly do your veining. Easier on bigger kits. Then, kind of go over it and just bring it back down. A lot of pastel work in here with different browns, blacks around the area here of a rotted look. Basically, Rotted Tooth Tan was used for the fingernails from the Badger Freak Flex line. And as you can see, as you go around, the same on this hand that he's holding the bottle. You can see the rotten tooth tan on his fingernails. Again, then it's brought down with the transparent black to tone it down. Veining in here also. And that's basically everything I did with his hands. Again, it's a process of just going back and forth with your pastels, your original color, and basically what you're doing, in my opinion, is you're building up layers. You're getting different layers of his skin and the different colors, fluctuations in the skin. I mean, he's a dead guy. You know, it varies on your subject. If you look at your skin, your hands, there's a variation of colors. In your face, and it's, you know, it's how God created us. You have different variations. So this is David from the excellent film The Lost Boys. I encourage you to watch it. I encourage you, if you're a fan, to check out this kit. It was originally released by Shaky Dave. Shaky Dave, great job. You can also be highlighting another one of his kits soon, which was the Oliver Reed Curse of the Werewolf. I believe these are still available. They may have been picked up by a producer. I will put Dave's info in the subject of the video here. You can hit him up and see if it's available. And again, if you're a fan of this movie, this kit is a must-have. It really is. It just, come on, it's a Jeff Yagher piece. And I believe this one was casted by Mark at Earthbound Studios, so boom. Can't get much more of a perfect piece than this one. So again, David from The Lost Boys, one of my favorites in my collection. I know I say that a lot. That's because I like all my kits. They're just great stuff. But I just want to share that with you and different techniques that I've done. That's what this channel is all about. Talking Models with Troy Nayert is talking models with me, Troy. And we just kind of talk models, what I did, and maybe it'll encourage you to get the piece out of your stash. You got to build those things, guys, and put them out so people can enjoy your work. And you can look at something you created. So again, thank you for stopping in today and watching this video. Thank you for your support of Talking Models with Troy Nayert. And I thank you for subscribing to this channel. If you haven't subscribed, why not? Please subscribe, share this channel. Have fun. That's all we're doing, man. We're having fun. So again, thanks again for stopping in. May the Lord bless your day today. Have a great day.